Masahiro Matsuno with another play for the ages. Valeria looking long. Ball check gets open again.
Welcome to the Gold Coast in sunny Queensland, Australia. And thanks for joining us here on Ulti World for the World Flying Disc Federation's premier event, the World Ultimate Championships. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, joined alongside Avril Tam, and we have moved through pool play, power pools, and we're here at the business end, the knockout round, brackets, quarterfinals in the mixed division. What do we got in this fixture, Avril, in front of us today? It's getting exciting.
Absolutely. Business indeed. And I'm sure Australia are looking to get busy. They will have a big home crowd cheering them on. Quarterfinals, big matchup against Japan. They are familiar foe, having played at the Asia Oceanic Championships, with Australia's team getting over the top of Japan in quarters at the same stage. So Japan certainly looking for some redemption.
Yeah, Japan looking for their redemption. They noted that off the top. You know, there's a very interesting crossover with Keita Yoshida, a Japanese player playing for the Australian team, as we take a look at the power pools that set up these brackets.
As we see France coming on top of Australia. So Australia just having the one loss this tournament. They'll be disappointed with that result, but looking to mentally switch on. And that's certainly something that the coaches will be asking for in the quarterfinals.
That's how the bracket shakes up now after the quarters get themselves set up. And this indeed is that look. U.S. is the one taking on Italy at the bottom, Canada, Singapore, and in the middle of this, France, Germany, and the one we're looking at right here, Australia, Japan. The winner will have to go through the mighty U.S., but either of these teams will be able to throw the sink at the U.S. and try and slow things down. When you look to the Japanese side, they've had great scoring across, but Takada, Mayuka Takada, with 7 games, 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 total points, has become a very dangerous distributor and a real threat for the Japanese to maintain their style of play, quick movement, change the angles. What about on the Australian side, Avril?
Yeah, we've got Fisher J, who is lighting up the stats for the Australian Open, O-line. He's leading the stats with 27 total, 14 assists, 13 goals, so doing it on both sides. He's well supported, as you mentioned, Keita Yoshida on the O-line and Zach Chodos. And we've got Fisher Day here just going through some highlights. Here we go on the big end of a arcing disc here, and just calmly as you like slots it through. Yeah,
Fisher has been doing it on the receiving end, on the throwing end. One of the top scorers, contributors of the tournament. Every team we speak of facing the Barramundis have got him earmarked as one to put their best defensive assignments on. Try and limit him as much as possible to gain advantage going into this one. You see the Australian supporters starting to fill up the stands here. And both these teams have their eye on the prize at the end of this tournament and what might follow the World Games qualifiers. This is how it currently shapes up. The maximum potential these countries have based on where they still lie in the tournament. Australia and Japan, as of now, soundly in. Very low likelihood either of them will get that top 300. But right now, max potential available. Both sitting in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, as we can see that live ladder. And the crowd getting big nice and early.
So it is all about to kick off here. Quarterfinals happening across the park. 8 teams enter. 4 of them will advance. On this pitch, it'll be the green and gold of Australia or the rising sun from Japan. And it's about to kick off any minute. Michaela Dunmall, disc in hand, ready to pull.
So not only Keita Yoshida having the relationship between...
Yes, let's go, Mondays!
Of course, the Barramundis, native to Queensland.
And we are off and running. Japanese with first possession. Shima. And a call upfield. He sees the pick. And will slow things down.
It's like an isolated play. You can see here side stack making space for the cutter.
Back in play. Shima goes around. Too far. First throw turnover. Ramadan on the chase, but the Barramundis will send the lefty John McNaughton to pick up the disc with a very short field to look at to break.
That is not the start that Japan were looking for. Certainly plenty of pressure from the Australian defence, just forcing that disc wide.
J-Mac plants the foot, goes to Powley. A little bit of a bounce on the mark, and now to Ramadan. A pick called. Bit of bounce on the mark there. And we're back in play. Powley takes the up line. Takes the forehand. Ramadan gives him a cut. Goes back to center. Easy to run under. And now Dunmall. Lefty backhand in for the goods. Ruiz catches the goal. It was let go of very quick. Potentially the spike. But there was control there, but only for the briefest of seconds. A peculiar one to cash in that first point.
Cash in indeed. First break opportunity and clean conversion for the Australian D-line. Working through the handler set, and as you see that lefty inside backhand from Michaela Dunmore. Ruiz getting on the end of that one.
Now, here's another look at that. I mean, it goes up in the celebration. There were two hands. There was a brief second of control, but goodness, that was to go up and celebrate and see the wind blow it away. Speculative. The Japanese obviously didn't have the same angle, didn't question the potential for that to be anything but a goal.
Here we go, Mondays. Here we go, Mondays.
Here's one more look. Control. Oh, I mean, I think it was controlled. It surprised her that it slipped out on the celebration, though. That's for sure. You see her looking up to her hand like, you let me down, hand.
Yeah, it looks like she had control, kind of bringing the disc into her stomach, but she just brought the disc up so quickly. It kind of just with the momentum fell off. Anyway, no question from the Japanese team. So accepted as the first break to Australia, who look to get things to a fiery start.
1-0 on the break. Australia sends their D unit out there. And the Japanese start again on O. Takada leads up the line. Ohashi goes back. Leading throw sticks. Yoshimi bounces towards the center. Ohashi. Low. Peter Ely had a sniff but couldn't get the fingers on it. Led forward. The throw doesn't go immediately from Ikeda. Now Ikeda puts front corner, and the Japanese walk one in. Takada, as featured off the top, scores the first goal.
And the Japanese O-line not letting that first break get to their heads, making sure, got some smooth shots. As we know, really liking that inside channel. Australia will need to stop a few more of those to minimise this offensive flow. You can see here just waiting for the opportune moment, just driving up the line. Really difficult to stop for the Australian defence.
Final instructions going to the Barramundi O-line. Barramundi, of course, the name of the Australian mixed team, but a white-fleshed fish that swims in the Pacific Ocean around these parts. Hermaphroditic, as I'm informed, this fish, and very tasty. Zach Chodos comes under. Yes, Tran leads across the field to Fisher Day. Fisher backhand around, and we've got a stoppage before that one gets to Dorothy Lee. Not even, here's a look at it.
Not sure, a foul or travel, perhaps?
I think it's a travel based on the body language we're seeing.
Discussion taking a little longer with the assistance of the translator.
Okay. We are repeating arguments now. I need to restart play.
Travel. Tractor.
Call is retracted!
Travel call retracted. I think that was the right outcome by my estimation. Lee goes to Reeve. Reeve all the way around. Day gave himself some space. Had a quick look to Tran. Takes it on the second effort. Was he in? No. Tran looks towards the end zone. Gets a squirrel cut out of Chodos. Chodos winds up the forehand. Now the hammer. Day is under it, but the pin gets there first. Big play to break things up.
Huge defensive pressure by Japan. They had a couple of sniffs at a few different points. Makiyama there getting horizontal just in front of the receiver. And Japan now, with their first break opportunity, they'll be confident they can work it all the way up the field.
What a big bid.
We'll be seeing a few more insides, I'm sure.
Ohashi bombs one up the line. He's going to hit on that. Matsunaga goes deep and hits the next one. Makiyama and Japan find their way in and break back the Mundis.
Makiyama, double happiness, getting a huge block. Look at them get pumped on the Japanese sideline. Plenty of them here in support, waving the Japanese flag. As we see that hammer, Fisher Day in position, but Makiyama just sneaks up on that inside shoulder, has great body position, no contact whatsoever, and beautifully timed long throws here, just two to get it done. Plenty efficient by Japan, and just showing their technicality. Two long throws on the same third of the field. That is really tricky stuff, but Japanese just making it look so smooth and easy.
Not all heroes wear capes. In this case, Shunpei Makiyama does it without the required flying equipment. Incredible bid to break up that Chodo's hammer and put Japan back in the driver's seat in this game early. Davey and Reeve exchange. Back to Davey. Zone front out of the Japanese. Three women in the front row. Yoshida to Reeve. Reeve back to Yoshida and quick to Davey. Oh, that is stripped out of the hands of Ely. I think that's the claim he will make, and that's the way I saw it unfold.
Yeah, agreed. Pete Ely, co-captain of this Australian team, standing up big, Did look like he had control of the disc before the Japanese player literally took it out of his hands.
My perspective is I thought is what I thought. We can ask game advisor if you had a shot, Steve.
I saw you had two hands on the disc. From your angle, I couldn't see who got to it first. I saw the offence had two hands on the disc, but I could not see who touched it who got to it first. No, I'm saying I could see his hands. I could not see his hands.
It looks like you had it on the replay.
Yeah, the player's referring to the big jumbotron.
What are we doing?
In the corner, big screen replay. It looks really close, Steph.
Yeah, they do have the benefit of seeing this replay on the big screen.
We are over 1 minute now.
My estimation was the
Foul
Japanese
contested.
finger may have touched it
here?
first. But Peter Ely
Is there a
had
stall count?
Control of the disc.
control all the while. It is a speculative one. It's very, very close. Splitting hairs, and I think sending it back is a very safe way to resolve this one. Yoshida and Davey. Nope. She looks the other way now to Davey. Yoshida throws low. Holly Reeve. Asks for some movement. Gets it. Gives and goes. Davey as Reeve returns to the disc. Davey back to Yoshida. And the Japanese zone doing a good job to stifle any Australian forward progression. Reeve motions for the big, then throws up line to Davey. Davey back again and around.
Yeah, Japan zone certainly quite loose on the throwers. You can see them sagging back, doing plenty of head checking, just dropping off for that next pass, which is why Australia only really have their dump and backfield handlers available so far.
Reeve back to Yoshida. Barramundis trying to work this one out.
I think it's looking a little bit slow in terms of the disc movement. Oh, as Australia pops one through.
Yeah, the upfield options were getting some space and being looked off. Must be said, there is no wind today. If you see the flags in the back, they're barely moving, little bits of breeze. But it is a day that these zones can be exploited with big throws. Let's see when they start taking them. There's a small hammer over the top. The Newcastle boys connect. Then the big shot. That looks like it's going to work. No, it doesn't. Flying through to break up the play on defense. Japan stifle another goal shot.
Makiyama, huge block. Again, that is 2 for the game, and we're only at 2-1, showing his defensive prowess. Japan perhaps baiting those over-the-top shots, allowing those shorter ones, but that high, lofty one just giving Japan too much of an opportunity, and Makiyama makes that one count.
Testing Makiyama. Not the wisest idea. Now they're going to go to Makiyama. He takes it high. Stoddart, the big man, chasing, but not quick enough. Japan find a way in. Tokishi Ishii with the goal, and they break again. The Aussies are going to have to figure this out.
Yeah, Team Japan getting pumped there, 2 breaks straight. And looking at the statistics, Japan certainly their points very efficient on their break shots. 2 passes and score. Australia 7 passes and then 31 on that last point with no goals to show for it. So Japan certainly making Australia throw plenty of passes, testing their skill. Only a little bit of a breeze, but certainly amping the pressure up early on. As we can see here, a chilly almost, 19 degrees today compared to the 30 plus we had to start off the tournament. Wind just the 11 k's per hour, very unlike the gusty 40 to 50 k's we had only a couple of days ago. So although not much win, Japan's zone getting the job done, being really heads up, really aware, plenty of communication from the sideline to prevent forward passes and bait those high shots for their big defenders.
Every day has been dramatically different weather here at these championships. Today a little overcast and still. Yoshida goes across, finds Zach Chodos. He puts 2 hands on. Chodos leads forward, shovels in. Yoshida again. Halden goes to Yoshida and straight back to Max Halden. Dancing on the mark, travel called, resets his pivot, gives to Reeve and gets again. Chodos shoots for goal, Fisher Day. Opening, and the Aussies end the short run of breaks with a nice tidy hold.
Well done, Team Australia. Getting a pretty efficient point, that one. 11 passes. Chodos Today connection has been happening all tournament. I'm sure they'll be relying on that one again, but Katie Yoshida doing plenty of work, plenty of touches, going almost 1-2 there in the red zone. And Howden also a pivotal part of their offense. Australia's offensive line just getting in tune now.
And really, to finish that point off, they did go sideline to sideline throughout, but really just exploited the open side, worked hard for their cuts, came playing out of a very standard vertical stack, and worked hard to shake defenders from the middle. Let's see, Timocles Copland out there, his first game in action. He suffered a head knock prior to the tournament and has been waiting patiently for clearance, which he's got today, so he'll have fresh legs out there, but also potentially some rust to shake off. First game in a tournament when everybody else is well oiled into a game, so we'll keep our eye on number 34 for the Barramundis.
Fantastic pull, allowing the defenders to chase down.
Japan in their own end. Lee. Ooh, Powley thought about that, but the throw was neat enough. Takada goes up line. Lee goes back to center. Shima gives and gets again, and now moves to the sideline. Lee goes big. The outside in is hanging. Oh, and just out of the reach because of the play of Dunmall.
Michaela Dunmore knew she had the length and the height. Fantastic bid, goes hard, hits the ground hard too. She's called an injury sub and grab a breather, but what a play.
I suspect she will be fine, but you're right. Really sacrificing the body on that one, all in on getting the D, and if that doesn't fire up her country folk, nothing will. That is just what they need to get the fire. They need to break back now and put the break score back to level Peggins.
Absolutely, Steph. I'm pretty surprised so early on, given that the conditions are a lot less windy today, that there have been so many break opportunities.
Yep, we'll see if this tidies it. And also surprised to see as much zone as we've seen. It's not been exclusively zone, but to see both teams have deployed at least once now in these conditions, it's very interesting to keep our eye on that.
Yeah, as you said, not quite a zone per se, but a pull chase by Australia on this defensive point. We had Ben Powley just sitting in that lane deterring any of those midfield options. As we're just trying to sort out the injury subs, I think Japan have also substituted a player.
And John McNaughton, the Brisbane native, played decades of his ultimate not far from here at all, and many times on these very fields. Kicks things off to another Brisbane native, Timocles Copland. Now Ben Powley. Powley back to J-Mac. And a pick on field as indicated by the double bicep flex. Tap back in, the lefty McNaughton goes to Ramadan. Fires one in to Copeland. Copeland waits, goes around. Ramadan lets McNaughton make a dance move, cuts towards the far sideline. Back to Ramadan, middle, deep in their own end. Gainer for Palmer. Palmer looks up and misfires. Japan now with a short field. Second chance to hold all alone on the sideline for the first pass of the sequence. Ikeda goes all the way over to Yoshimi. Shima allows the stall count to rise and then moves to Takada. Shima, high release, Takada in for the goal. Japan get the disc back and find a way to hold.
Find a way they did. With both teams not looking the cleanest, giving opportunities. This feels like it might be who can take those chances. I must say, though, Japan generally being very efficient with their scores. Get things going very quickly. Lovely use, basically, just the throw, catch an immediate throw over the top. Defense had no idea that this was coming. Great attack from Japan.
To Japan with a 2-break lead. Australia opened hot with a break, but have since conceded 2 in a row. O-line will want to find this hole to get their defense back on the field, that's for sure. Yoshida goes to Chodos.
As we see another Japanese zone here. They've got a couple in front and 3 in that second wall. This time Australia using their legs to try and drive through from behind.
Day finds space in the middle, scoop over top to Tran. Yoshida getting crafty with the throws. Chodos takes the hammer, goes around Tran. Tran zips one through. Efficiently hits, and the next throw goes. Australia back on the board. It's Fisher Day with another goal.
Australia also showing their throwing prowess. A couple of overheads, scoobers, hammers, and then a nice bladey flick over to that break side by Maddie Owens. Just that back corner of the zone. The deep defenders of Japan unable to chase that one down. Maddie Owens, based out in Sydney, plays for her club team Rogue, who have had plenty of support here on the stream and on the sideline so far. Fisher Day here, stamping his authority.
Let's go! Come on! Let's go, Australia!
And getting nice and fired up for the ensuing play after he put his feet down for a goal. Bringing Australia back within 1, putting the defense on the field. And this is where Australia can make the gap disappear. This is where they earn their breaks with the D-line on. Brereton sends the pull. Knocked down and picked up by Lee. Lee breaks to Takada. Takada, quick, the other way. That's going to work. Indeed it will. Tajima underneath, and Japan scores on a 3-throw sequence.
Japan's offensive line just looking so smooth, keeping the disc nice and low and controlled. And those cuts, just time to have separation in the deep space. Despite the height of the Australian team, they haven't timed that to perfection, then be game over. But certainly Japan just making sure that they are turning as the thrower catches a disc. Tajima, one of the 27-year-olds from the Tokyo Mavericks. In fact, we have 3 Tokyo Mavericks on the Japanese team and 3 on the Australian team, with Yoshida, Dunwall and Phillips all gearing up for the Mavericks later this year.
A lot of great connections established over the course of the last few years to set that up. Holly Reeve goes to Fisher Day. Back to center. Reeve backhands and throws into the defender. A play made, but maybe not even required. Japan pick up. Here's another break in the cards. Okajima goes to the far sideline. Led forward. I think we're going to see a call here. The throw from Uchike gets a hand on it. Reeve trying to plead her case. Uchike keeps the disc. The clenched fist shows it's coming in at 0. Uchike goes into the backfield. Oh no. Oshai flips back and forth on the pivot foot, leads, shot for goal, hits, and Japan find another answer. Ono with the big break. Make it 6-3.
And yet another break, Steph. Break opportunities here. Japanese running away with it. Now converting 3 of 3. Australia just the one. As you can see here, Matsunaga. Japanese players aren't afraid to get horizontal. He's relishing the experience playing on the national team after a couple of stints in the under-23s and 24 division. And as we have the Japanese team cheering each other on, Matsunaga playing with gratitude to his family, co-workers and teammates. And I'm sure he'll be pleased to show off his defensive prowess to his son and his wife back home.
A great strike to finish there by the Japanese, but it's the Australians who have taken this timeout. That last turnover by Chodos, unforced, thrown into the defense. These are the toughest coachable moments to say, hey, just don't make those personal errors. These players in their prime, elite level, but it's a game of inches, small margins, and sometimes the demand is near perfection when you miss by just a little bit and give these break opportunities.
And I think it's not just the break opportunities, but when the Japan D-line gain possession, they've only lost possession once. So the clean conversion when they do opportunity, not allowing Australia back into the point, that certainly would play in mentally, I think, to the Australian team.
Yet they are playing stingier with the disc than the Australian O-line right now. Can the Aussies adapt and adjust? This is a game where they are favored both in the pre-tournament seedings and because of the tournament form and re-rank into the bracket. Is there an upset on the horizon? It's been a heck of a start for Japan to stake that claim. Yoshida comes under for Australia, and now to Davey.
And again, the Japanese zone coming out in defense. It's been successful so far in slowing the Australians down and then baiting those high throws over the top. And Australia, again, using that tactic a couple of times in this point, although these ones don't give Japan a sniff.
Reeve takes over after sideline to sideline hammers. Davey spins around. And despite getting out of trouble with those hammers, they are still playing in their own half where they've been for most of this game's possession for the green and gold. Yoshida has to pop backwards again. Tran there. And now to Reeve. Upfield, there is some separation in the deep space, but they are not attacking it, are the Australians. Tran sends the hammer. Stoddart there now, and this should surely be an easy finish. It is. They waited out until the deep stuff is wide open and finally take advantage with a hammer and ensuing throw.
As we can see here, that Japanese zone just forcing Australia to go sideways for a few passes. And as we see an over the top here, Australia, the two deepest wing players, managing to preserve space. And when they get the opportunity, just coming and flowing into the middle. So the wings for Australia doing really well, keeping to the sides and dragging the defenders that way, which opens up that middle space to attack.
4-6. Barramundis get a nearly desperate hold. Nothing desperate at this stage of the game, but they're definitely starting to feel the position of inferiority here that they weren't expecting. And they know they've got their work cut out as soon as you get behind in a game like this. The necessity to break sometimes clouds the easier job of getting the hold. This is the pressure that sport is so wonderful with, that this sport is so wonderful about, having to handle all of it and put it into play as Japan do right now with their O-line that has been very efficient. Takada, nice throw inside. Shima leads, two cracks at it by Miss Phillips, but she can't get fingertips to it. It's Takada who retains. Now Takano, far sideline, Takada. Backhand in the middle, incredible reception there. Going to ground. Rui Ikeda into a backward somersault while ensuring the catch. Defensive players move back to their positions, and Ikeda reinitiates the possession. Takada leads for goal. It's in again. Tajima and Japan strike gold 7-4. Continue to dictate the pace and stretch open the lead.
Dictate the pace indeed. You can see Japan, their flow just looking so beautiful. You can see the trust they have in each other. Already the cuts and the timing, as we see that pressure from Phillips with that slightly high disc. But that's really the point of difference at the moment between the Japan offense and the Australians. Japan just trusting each other, knowing that they're going to time their cut and the turn, assuming that the player's going to catch a disc. Australia, the Japanese defense just slowing them down. There's no real continuation options after that first shot off. So Australia certainly hoping to look for a few more connections there, a bit more flow, just to make sure that the defense are always on their toes and, you know, changing the angle of attack.
It was the near D by Mish Phillip, probably Australia's best chance slowing down the Japanese offense. We've seen that very well could have come to fruition. So maybe some positives that come out of that last point. For now, let's get that defense back on the field. Must be the Australian mentality, and Japan has abandoned the zone for the time being. Chodos to Owens. Reeve. And Haldon gets it on the in cut up the far sideline. Chodos to Reeve, back to Haldon. Fisher Day had his hand up looking for the deep shot, but Haldon held off from pulling the trigger. Matty Owens comes under. The Australians have looked much better against match D. Yoshida chases under and materializes another goal. Aussies will put their D-line back on. 5-7. They're still down a deuce.
Yeah, Australia taking a leaf out of Japan's book. Matty Owens catching that disc and putting that inside backhand immediately. There you can see Keita just leading Keita Yoshida into that space. Australia look good when they can get their throws off, you know, before stall 3 or 4. It's when they get held up beyond that things are just breaking down for them.
Another timeout called by Australia. I like... Oh, and we can have a quick look at what's going on around the park. Break that down for us, Avril.
So this game, Japan 7-5 up against Australia. France, similar scoreline, 7-4 against Germany. That will be the two European powerhouses taking it to the end, I'm sure. Canada up ahead against Singapore 6-3. And US, Italy, a very close scoreline, 7-6. The Italians absolutely bringing their biggest game today.
Excuse me, Avril, did I make a bold prediction this morning?
You did?
What was the prediction that I made?
You told me that the Italian mixed team were going to have their best game of the tournament.
And they are going. I did not predict the victory, but I said they're going to score more than 10. And seeing that score just made my jaw drop a bit. I said it quite audaciously this morning, and incredible that the Italians have brought their best. But I'm not surprised either. Davide Mori, the coach, a very interesting man, the passion, but strategically, tactically, the way he moves through a tournament, he would have tried to pull the wool over the eyes of many to believe that they were all but done and then bring the best Italian performance yet.
And after the timeout, I'm sure Australia will be rallying the troops, trying to get their O-line a little bit more energised and dialed in. As we see a big D-line. Good to see Michaela Dunmore back on field. And interestingly, they have brought Keita Yoshida across. Ferdy Ramadan also back after missing a couple of games, just managing some injuries.
Pole sent by the Barramundis. The crowd starting to understand the implications of this one now, and a little bit more noise coming from the sideline. Shima gets the continue. Tight marks by the Australian match defense. Ikeda gets another gainer to Tekada. Oh, good defense by Australia right now. They do get a bailout late in the stall count. Shima leads Takada. Takada very quick to move on. Ikeda. Ikeda pops one. Yoshimi turns upfield, no throw. Now leads out in front to center. Shima. And a timeout called. Japan starting to feel a bit of the Aussie pressure this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Scoreline at 5-7 with Japan in possession of the disc. An opportunity to take it to 8 for the half. Both teams calling timeouts for this point, understanding the significance of this point in the context of the game. As we see here, the Australian team dialing up the defence. Big mark by Mish Phillips. Fisher Day just going toe-to-toe. Just covering that dump defence, forcing Japan to go behind. We know Ferdi Ramadan is a fantastic defender, particularly on the mark and on those handlers. And really good to see the D-line from Australia amping it up, playing for each other as their coaches were asking for pre-game.
Yeah, you like the way Japan did. They recognize this defense is a little bit different right now. They've amped up the intensity. They're a little bit tighter from assignment to assignment. They maintain their composure. And I don't always love an in-point timeout. But with that, they're seeing something different. They got the disc to center. Let's take the timeout. Let's address what they're doing. This is a timeout that I quite like.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, Japan looking really good when they're managing to get the discs off, you know, before stall 2 or 3. In that point, you saw Japan getting stifled, waiting, you know, getting up until 5 or 6 or even 7 before getting the disc off. So Australia managing to target that quick movement and managing to slow it down.
Yoshimi gives the backhand. It's low, but gets away with it. Continuation, Yoshimi again. Now Shima fakes and holds up. We've got congestion and a pick.
And just taking a little bit of time to work out, of course, a pick is when the defender was obstructed in marking their matchup. So Japan on the doorstep in prime position to take half.
Shima shimmies, shakes, goes to the inside, takes Tajima. Takada picks up, faking the backhand over and over, throws it, leading out in front. That one's in. Japan find the end zone to Ikeda and make it halftime, 8-5. Stretch and open the lead.
And Ikeda with a score and a celebration there. 30-year-old from Tokyo, known for his speed as an offensive cutter. He's played plenty of his ultimate for the Buzz Bullets, Technicolor and Rattles. And on plenty of national teams, both in the underage category and now on stage at the World Ultimate Championships.
Just a reminder that 8-5 is maybe the most dangerous scoreline in ultimate.
So as you can see, Japan just using those inside backhands. Again, just getting the discs off in quick succession. Just because they've timed those continuation cuts really well, they turn and the cutter's already in position, allowing them to get the disc off before stall 3, before Australia have any time to set. Diving catch there by Takada to save it. Huge fakes to get the mark moving. But Japan up to the task, takes the half with at 8-5. 3 of 3 break chances converted. And as we said, very stingy, just not giving the Australians any opportunity when they do get possession of the disc.
100% hit rate for the Japanese break line. They have been stingy indeed, more efficient than the Australian O-line. We've got Masata Okada for an interview. Masata Okada, first half, you guys have been showing many defensive looks, some zone, some match defense. Is this something you will continue to do to keep Australia's offense guessing?
今いろんなディフェンスをしてると思うんですけど、これ後半もそのまま使いますか、いきますか。も
ちろんこの素晴らしいチームにやれることはすごく自分たちもこのために練習してきたのでぜひやりたいと思います。
So we are glad to play against the great team as Australia. So we practice a lot. So we continue to do that.
That's fantastic. And we saw Australia get the first point as a break. Then Japan managed to get 2 breaks back very quickly. How did you manage to turn things around?
初っ端でブレイク食らっちゃって、その後2ブレイクやり返したんですけど、それどのようにチームをマネジメントしましたか？
今までもずっとこういうゲームが続いていました。もうこういうことが あるのを、カバーできるのが僕らの今のチームなので、チームの力を信じてました。
Okay, how they say, we have experienced about like this, the situation. The first one was break, so we practiced a lot, and they understand we can cover. Go for it.
Well, thank you very much to both of you. Thank you, Coach Okada. Good luck in the second half.
ありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。
Great insights from the Japanese bench bosses. We're going to take a halftime break. It's Japan 8 over the favorites Australia with 5. Back with more soon. Japan lead over Australia as the Kangaroos hop around and take it all in up here in the Gold Coast at Runaway Bay. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Avril Tam. Thanks for joining us and getting all this action on the YouTube, but go on, get over there to Ulti World, subscribe, get in the event pack. Make sure you take in all of this action because especially from here on out, it is only getting better and better by the day. Going to the Barramundis bench. The first half, you guys have fallen behind a few breaks there. The Japanese zone perhaps causing a bit of problems. What is the message to the Barramundis at the half?
We know that we're going to be able to work through that Japan's thrown this before. We've seen it before. We know that we can work through it, and we're just going to go out there and go crush it.
Absolutely. Jeremy Ha, thanks for joining us on the mic here. We haven't seen Australia take advantage of the height matchup. We know that we are much taller in stature than the Japanese. What are your thoughts on potentially exposing that weakness?
That height is an advantage. Like, we can see it across the board, but we're going to use our structures. We're going to play through it. We're just going to go out there and go crush it.
O-line has been somewhat limited because of this. Any players that are going to be looked to steady the ship here for the second half?
We trust everybody across the board. We don't really rely on just one player. We're just going to use everybody as best we can in their best roles.
Wonderful. Good luck in the second half. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Av.
Max Halden kicks things off for Australia. Owens gets there, as does the pick call. Looks like Owens will retain possession, taps it in, nobody on for the time being. Yoshida leads, help, steps in front. That was sniffed out early. Now going for goal. Another break awaits. Yes, it does. Oh my goodness, what a grab. Trujillo over Halden. He is different custard.
And my goodness, Team Japan running away at Runaway Bay. They have got their fourth break of this game. Every single one of these breaks, only a couple of passes in it, 2-2-6, and this one just only requiring the one. Just so efficient and stingy. As we see the catch block here, and immediately receiver goes. Trust in the deep space there, climbs the top of Max Halden. And here, Australia, just those throwing slight miscues, giving Japan enough of an opportunity. We know that the technical skills of Japan are certainly top-notch, and Australia just not quite up to that standard in this game.
Yeah, the defense read that all the way through. Matty Owens pulled the trigger without looking to that second layer of defense. Max Halden gets beat in the air. Japan 9, Australia 5. 9-5, and for Japan, it's all taken and no given. And the pole hangs and tapers out to the far sideline. Zach Chodos will bring the disc to the brick mark.
So Australia, zoned by Japan. So Australia have got 2 deep, 2 poppers and 3 in the backfield.
Yoshida to Tran. Scoop over top to Yoshida, and then the OI continuation. Bub gets again and goes to Tran. Tran low throw to Bub. It's on. Fisher Day open in the back of the end zone. Lefty, Stoddart throws the hammer. Day all alone. The Mundies put it together. Get a hold. It's 6-9. They've got plenty of work to do, but that's the way they got to start it all off.
And work they will pre-game. The Australian team talking about grinding, working, being disciplined, but most of all love and playing for each other. And certainly in times like this, backs against the wall, solidifying a hold to stay in touch with the game 6-9. We know that Australia do have plenty of legs. They're going to be working hard to try and finish this game off and really push back into contention.
It is very much now or never for the Australian Barramundies. Down 3 still after scoring and putting their defense on the field.
A lovely lefty hammer, nicknamed Lefty, Chris Stoddard from the Newcastle Empire, playing with Pie Wagon and I-Beam.
What do you call somebody from Newcastle?
Good question. Newey?
I think they're a Novocastrian.
Novocastrian, yes. You would be right, Steph.
Lee back and forth and continues to use the dump space with Shima. Shima back to Lee and Takada. Now the Australians showing their zone once again. Lead throw stopped and sent back to Shima. Shima goes around. Takada. And now to the far sideline. Ikeda. Back to Shima.
I like this look by Australia, going for a zone, making sure to slow the Japanese down. There's not much movement in that mid-space for the Cutters, but they managed to get it through just through their throwing prowess.
Takada goes back to Shima. Shima points upfield, likes the look. Japanese, not too many high stall counts, but they are going through the hands here, more than 20 passes in. It is a different look for them.
Yeah, I think Japan would be pretty comfortable throwing plenty of throws, but certainly Australia, like you said, Steph, make sure they keep mixing it up, keep them on their toes, try and make them a little uncomfortable. You just never know. The pressure of a quarterfinal might just force an error.
Shot out in front. Ikeda looks to center. Continuation. Lee right in the middle. Shot for goal. It's knocked away. Some way, somehow, the Mondays get a break.
And that strategic adjustment, just a different zone, actually maintaining it all the way through to the red zone. Australia get their first chance here for a break in the second half.
Bouncing it around, it's Dang with the disc. Now Brereton. Brereton looks inside, the throwing lane covered up. Pops! Oh, goodness! A near Callahan there, but Davey saves the day. Davey breaks around with a backhand. Ely comes under. Ely straight back to Ryan Davey. Leading throw, Peter Ely. Winds up, unleashes. This one's hanging. Will it stay in? Indeed, it will. Barcham with the disc back to Davey. They ate up a whole bunch of meters. Now they've sent deep. Brereton in the end zone. Break for the Barramundis.
Exactly what Australia needed. Their D-line delivers. That was their first break opportunity of this second half. The D-line absolutely answering the call from halftime. As we see here, just a little bit of pressure, a couple of bodies behind LSC there. Pete Ely working hard in the underspace and then unleashes a big one to Claire Barcham. Using their height advantage here, and Davey just slides it out up into space for Sarah Brereton from Perth, stalwart of her club team Chaos. Last time she played Worlds was in 2016 with the Firetails, now showing she can get the job done on mixed. And you can hear the Australian crowd starting to get loud and coordinated, willing their team. They're still in it, 7-9 with plenty of ultimate to go.
Peter Ely stepping up on that last point, sending the deep that really gave the Mondays the space they needed to finish the job. They're going to need those kind of efforts coming across the board for the rest of this one. They've got some ground to make up, but that just proves the potential to do it. Yoshimi goes to Takada. Aussies respond with another zone to follow the pull. Ohashi to Takada. And back with Ohashi. Yoshimi works up the far sideline and very quick upfield. Okajima led for goal, taken high. Japan do find their way back in quick. Tajima with the goal.
And that's a hold for Japan. The Australian zone in that point, not quite as successful in slowing them down. They just managed to pass it around to the sides and then shot one downfield close to the sideline, and then the second one in succession. And it's always so tough in that zone defense to try and catch up when it's gone through a couple of hands, as we see dicing through, using their legs here. And a little bit high, gives Mikhail Dummo a little sniff, but well read there by Tajima, just attacks that. As we see, once they get through the first and the second line of the defense, they're just away to the races. And the Japanese team get a nice steady out to take it to 10-7.
Three-point lead. Australia can close it back to 2 and get their defense on the field. Another break at this stage would include the hearts to be broken as well, you might think. Chodos waits under the pull. Yoshida and Chodos, and now Halden's involved. Quick to Chodos and quicker back to Halden. They are up and running. Yoshida in the Barramundi offense deciding to pick up the pace here. Lead to Halden. Halden straight back to center. Tran zips one. Yoshida handles it. In the red zone, Chodos with space finds the corner and hits for a goal. Dorothy Lee, the collector.
Australia, their O-line will be pleased to get that one. Channeling a little bit of that Japanese-inspired style with a couple of nice insides and just leading shots into space. Chodos, Halden, Yoshida, all of the big players for the Australian O-line. Tran with a lovely inside leading shot to Yoshida here. Just continued Chodos and a quick flip to Dorothy Lee, based out in Melbourne. She's part of the Ellipsis club scene, showing that she's getting the job done on mixed. The Australians will be pleased. They've come out half. There's much more love, making it easy for each other, staying connected as they ramp up for the remainder of this game.
The remainder of this game is the pointy end of this game. They call it the pointy end because it points in the direction of that final. The brackets, they tighten up. The games get tighter, and Japan has come out and shown that they mean business big time here for their team to advance, for the World Game points to accumulate. It is not over yet, but they have opened up in very impressive fashion. McNaughton, speaking of impressive, how about that pull? Hangs and lands, middle end zone. Lee and Japan look upfield. Some big separation on the first cut. Ishii goes inside. Ikeda. Low throw, another seam. The wind up, and almost in front is McNaughton. Is this one going to hit? It is! What a throw Miyachi chases it down and stretches the lead 11-8. Japan keep going.
Team Japan, really impressive. Again, just those pinpoint shots to the deep space. Australia getting some bodies under, but just reading it better. As we can see, a lovely inside-out flick here. Fades away to the sideline.
I mean, that throw is serious. McNaughton only inches away from getting a hand block, flailing his body out in front. But then to beat the defense in such a small window before the back line, the Japanese are going for it here. They are leaving everything on this field, and boy, do they have a lot to leave right now.
And they'll be looking to leave their mark. Shogo Shima now with 2 assists, coming into this game already with 8 assists and the 1 goal. So Japanese team certainly spreading the stats around.
Chodos. Couple fakes, no throw yet. High stall count goes to Reeve. Reeve over top, Owens, 2 hands on it. Owens doesn't like the seam. Yoshida gives a freebie behind.
And this time the Japan defense trying to trap here to the sideline.
The big throw hits Dorothy Lee. I like that Chodos is taking that. That is the open throw. Reeve to Yoshida. Halden to Chodos. Chodos zips in the middle. Owens looks up. Max Halden there for the continuation. Leading throw. In for goal. Dorothy Lee on the spot, and the Mundies do hold again, as they've been doing in this second half.
Dot Lee coming out big. 2 second-half goals already. Looking to inspire her teammates. Have to say, the Australian offense looking a little cleaner in the second half, Steph. Looking a little bit more composed and in control. Certainly the game tightening up as we see Maddie Owens just positioning herself beautifully behind that cup. And the Australian throwers piercing it through.
Yeah, very fair to say the Australian O-line has made it more difficult for the Japanese to break them in becoming more efficient. Now, the Australian D-line has got to find a way to get a stop. They've got 1 break in the game. 2, sorry. 1 the very first point of the game. They need a few now. You know, there's always a sense of urgency. You don't want to wait for those to be back against the wall when Japan has 14 to get your breaks. Sneaking 1 in now, while Japan are at 11 or 12 would be, well, of course, favorable. The sooner you can chip away at it. Easier said than done always, but Japan sent back out there. Shima on the job, another zone.
And the volume from the sideline has increased as you see Pete Ely diving out to try to get a block.
Shima can't find a space through the middle. Continues to Takada. Takada lets Yoshimi run all the way around. Ooh, the defense reacted to the fakes. They're ready, but no throw. High stall count now. And somehow that one sticks into the Japanese hand.
A huge mark from Chris Stoddard there. And there we have a massive block for Australia by Claire Barcham. Just running through, getting her mitts.
The step through sticks, and Australia understanding that time is running away have done it. They've given themselves the chance. What will they do? Can they convert? Brereton gets the disc. Now Davey. Straight back to Brereton. And Davey cuts the other way for some space. The Mundies handlers exchange back and forth. Happy to go backwards for the time being. Ely had a big throw earlier, this time resets. Davey directing traffic with the offhand. Stoddart now. Davey's gone deep. Stoddart sent it. It's hanging. This one's for the taking. And Davey's there for the break. There is a foul on the pursuit in the end zone. Davey ran through some traffic, I think is where this one has come to be called.
Geez, the Australian team getting excited. Chris Stoddard looking for familiar teammate in Ryan Davey. Looks like there might have been a foul, perhaps a push-off.
I mean, they were running crossing patterns. I'm not sure the Japanese defender was running the right line, but Davey kind of gave him what's known as a swim move in the NFL. Let's see if we have another look here from up top. Yeah, I mean, he was not running towards the disc at all, but they did have some contact between them. Did that impact what he may have done?
It's tricky because the disc spent a lot of time in the air. So perhaps the argument from the Japanese player was that affected, kind of a second play almost.
Yeah, even if I was not on the right line, that disc floated, I would have had time to adjust.
And as we see here,
bottom left of your screen,
the contact just at the end zone line, just a bit of a shoulder clip or maybe a trip on the feet. And after a game without too many stoppages and calls, Steph, this one is a really significant one in the context.
So I don't think if you're running in the wrong direction away from the play, that you had any impact on the play.
Sorry.
And I think you heard Ryan Davey explaining exactly what we were speaking of. The Japanese defender, after having the benefit of seeing the Jumbotron, letting things sink in and reassess, does agree. I think that one was resolved well. I think it was only ever Davies. I liked at the start of that play, as soon as Davey gave it back to his club teammate, Stoddart, he was off to the races. He had spent the bulk of that point in the backfield, getting every other reset touch, and then he gave it to the player he knew would put it to him. And, well, off to the races, and the Aussies have broken a big break. We said they're running out of time to do it. They've put one on the board.
As we see the Aussie crowd getting loud, Claire Bartram, Go Australia signs. They can sense the momentum shifting. They can sense the Australian team just ramping up, hopefully timing it to perfection for the Australian fans. So as we see another big Australian D-line, John McNaughton, Ferdy Ramadan, Ben Powley.
And the pull not going to stick in bounds, and the Japanese will get the benefit of the brick.
Pulls have been pretty good so far, Steph. I think that might be the first brick of the game.
Sounds about right. 21 pulls into this.
It looks like it's a horizontal set from Japan as Lee walks up to the brick mark.
Fakes the backhand, gets the defense turned around and straight back to Lee. Ohashi goes to Takada. The high swiping backhand fakes, and a foul is called on the mark. Powley in disagreement. with Takada.
Australia here trying to put on another zone, try and generate another turn.
Leading throw, almost a chance for Ramadan, but he can't get there. Japan now well and truly into the red zone. The return pass to Lee, and then to Ohashi. Lee again. Tajima to Lee. Australian zone reset. Ohashi to Lee. Ohashi, less than 10 away. Takada on the doorstep, quickly popped in. Takano on the receiving end of the goal.
Japan celebrating that hold. Certainly with their offense points, Australia, as we said, slowing them down, but also just making Japan throw plenty more passes. That last point, 21 passes compared to a couple of single digits, 5, 12, 16, 10. As you can see, the zone here just trying to pin them back through. But as Japan here, they get past that front wall. Lovely vision from the drone footage. Just using those inside shots, plenty of pivots, plenty of faking to move their marks and get that open window. And it's just that continuation shot which has made it really difficult for Australia. They get bam, bam. Just so hard to stop for the defense.
Now, I like the Australians showing some zone. It's been efficient. It has changed. The Japanese were more efficient early playing against a match. However, I don't think Australia can play zone to the end of this one. The match defense is a bit more of a chance to get a desperation D, which they might well need, assuming they can hold one in here. And that is turned over. I think there's discussion for strip here. Chodos and Matsunaga on the discussion.
It looks like both of them had hands to the disc.
Chodos said his hand was hit, not the disc caught at the same time.
As we take another look, and the players having a look at the Jumbotron.
You see the reaction, you hear the reaction as well.
I don't think that clearly shows anything.
The reaction.
I think the movement was probably fine. I think the contact in terms of body movement was minor. Yeah, the hand. I couldn't see where your hand was because this was in the way. I did see the grab from the defense though. I couldn't tell if it hit your hand or not. We need an outcome. What are we going to do? Very sorry. I saw the defense get a hand on the disc. I couldn't see if he contacted the offense hand. Time is up. Accept or contest.
Max, any perspective?
No, it's too late for that. We need a decision. Accept or contest.
I still think I had a chance at catching it, and your hand hit my hand.
All the whistles blowing now. This one does want
accept
resolution.
Or contest.
I think that this is. I thought it was a D. First look, I thought the Japanese hand got there first and clean enough if they're going to the same spot. I see Chodos' point here. I understand that he felt his hand get hit. I think he felt the hit after the catch.
Pick it up.
And it is resolved very differently than the way I saw it. Bag in play, Chodos goes to Yoshida. Yoshida waits for the upline cut. Chodos quick to continue. Haldon there. Haldon puts it deep. Fisher Day, the target, takes high. And the Aussies are back in for a hold. Back to within 1, 11-12. But there is a call. I retract all of that emotion.
I don't think that I did travel. No, that's okay.
Getting so just getting the translators in. See Chodos upline to Haldon. There was a travel call, and that's what they're discussing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely didn't see it on the first look. I thought Haldon hit power position there, looked up and through. Was there a toe drag? Was it significant?
So we have a look here, different angle.
Oh, that is a planted pivot foot. That is a perfect throw. That one needs to count.
Yep, and as we see a retracted call, the goal will count to Australia. Fisher Day, very happy and pleased with his work.
Okay, so all that emotion I retracted. Let's put it right back on the table. A nice goal for the Australians. Bring it back to within 1, 12-11. This one's getting tight down the stretch. That's what we like.
And Australia, I'm sure they'll have a big D-line coming up here. We've got Claire Bartram who got that block just a couple of points ago. We've got Pete Earley, who's been working that mid-space so well. Lefty, Brereton Phillips, and Holly Reeve. They know that they've got some momentum here. They want to try and ride the wave with the crowd cheering on.
Incoming info. U.S. did finally figure out the Italians, put them away 15-9. The French, also undefeated, finished off Germany 15-10. So the top seeds have gone through. Who will get through this one to see the U.S.? That one very much hanging in the balance. And the Canadians and Singaporeans in a defensive battle. 8-6, Canada with the small edge in the low-scoring affair. Japan boosts. Yoshimi the target. What a shot! The Ely bid, not enough. And Japan stretches it back to 2. 2 ahead, 2 away from victory.
And Japan, again, just so efficient with their conversions. That was another one-shot score. Really deflating for the Australian D-line. Don't even get a sniff. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board, as you said, Steph. Huge huck, just pinpoint. Despite the best efforts of Pete Earley. Back to the drawing board. As you said, Steph, the Australians running out of time. They're going to have to pull a big one out of the bag.
Yeah, Shogoshima has been having a cracker of a game, throwing absolute fire throughout, particularly right there. 3 assists on the day, none bigger than that one. As Australia, and we said they need one more break to level things up. They need 2 breaks to get through this game, and we're already at 13 for Japan. Backs firmly against the wall for the Barramundis. Chodos Goes to Reeve. Reeve and Chodos exchange. Now up line to straight back to Chodos. Tran and Chodos exchange. Back center to Day. Day eyes firmly set up field. And Holly Reeve pivots back to center where she finds Chodos. Chodos to Yoshida. Yoshida puts one to the end zone. Maddie Owens gets her hands on it. And the Australians can put their defensive unit back out there.
Absolutely. The Australian O-line getting the job done. As we said, looking much slicker in the second half. A lovely blading shot to the fat side for Owens. Chodos and Yoshida really anchoring the Australian offense at the moment. I mean, and that's all the offensive line need to do. They just need to keep scoring, make sure they maintain possession. It's a D-line here as we see Katie Yoshida being brought across for some offensive potency. Australia making some strategic decisions, knowing that they need to get the opportunity and convert.
Time is a ticking. The efficiency of both of these teams off the charts. 9 turnovers total in this game, Avril. Mind-blowing and making the prospect of the Australians finding 2 more and converting them in this final frame a momentous prospect.
Absolutely, and seeing both of these teams adjust to the change of conditions today, really managing to dial it in. They would have played some scrappy points with the win, but a huge pull from John McNaughton.
That one will float down into the hands of Lee. And the Japanese start from their own end. Shima kicks off to Takada. Shima from his own end zone. He has been fire throughout this game. Takada collects and hits ground. Mish Phillips on her back.
Takada has been a dominant force in this game. She's been really working things well through with her throws. As you see another one here.
Takada goes to Shima, winds up the backhand. Now looks back to his reset space, goes up the line. There is Kato Yoshida hopping off the field on one foot. She has some aggravation to the left leg. Is it ankle, knee? We're not sure, but she has indicated for injury on her way off. The upline cut may go back a throw as such.
And just working out whilst the Australian support team tend to Yoshida and the players just working out whether that play stands or where the disc will be coming in from. Really, Shogo Shima and Mayuka Takada absolutely pushing through this Japanese offense.
And Japan lead up line and convert. Tajima looks back to Shogoshima. Wind up, no. Now into center, the cut. Copland tried to sniff it out with some help defense and did manage to foul, caught some body on the way through. That will leave a Japanese male matching player exposed. as this one's tapped back in. Lee goes to the backfield. Ikeda centers to Lee. Lee waits and distributes. Shima centers to Lee. Ikeda, Shogoshima. Shima waiting for it. The cut comes back. Takada puts the backhand up, tries to beat Miss Phillips, and does on the second effort. Miss Phillips seemed to have done enough, but the pursuit of that disc, never ending, all the way into the hands. What a show of focus.
Focus indeed. The Australians, you could see the defense, they were really bidding for those opportunities. Takada, again, just showing her prowess with the disc. She's been driving this Japan team, forced up into the downfield space. As we see here, just those handler sets, just so dynamic in her change of direction. Her opponents are meters behind. As you can see there, just putting it out on a dime, leading her teammates into space. She just surveys the field so quickly and chooses a fantastic option.
Bold throw by Takada to finish this one. You got to be good to be lucky. Takada's good and gets a little bit of luck to go her way there too. Next pull down in front of Reeve. Chodos fires to Tran. Defense breaks up the potential to Huck, and now back to Chodos. Day comes under. Crab claws. Shot for goal. Reeves there, not quite in. Reeve. Eyes back to center. Upfield finds Max Halden in the corner. 13-14. It's game point for Japan. And Australia got a lot of work today. They're going to need to break twice now or concede the semifinal spot.
And it's all to play for today in this big quarterfinal matchup. Lovely long shot. Holly Reeve attacks that disc in the air. Waits for support. Just looking for the right option. Halden just popping into that little window. Timeout's been called. Australia working to call a big D-line on field. They're getting around each other, as are the fans in the stands.
Waiting with bated breath now, knowing the task at hand and how difficult it is in any circumstance. Here at the World Championships, only 9 turnovers in the game, and they got to come up with 2 and be able to convert them. That said, conversion rates have been good when the turnovers come. They've come seldomly, but when they do come, both these teams cashing in their chances. Australia will only pull for the rest of this game, however long they can extend it for.
Absolutely. In that last point on defense, I was really impressed. The defense for Australia, you could see there were a couple opportunities. Copeland and then Phillips getting a mitt, but unfortunately the Mac just not quite getting to the ground before Japan was saving it. But certainly the opportunities are there. And sometimes closing out a game is really, really difficult. Having that mental fortitude to stay switched on with the pressure ramping up in your face, big bodies flying. As we see the Japan crowd looking for their team to rise.
It is a game to 15. That clock no longer a factor. 1 goal away for the Japanese. The Australians could force universe points if they could materialize a break here. Dunmore with the pull. It is do or die. Can they prevent the Japanese? Shima will pick it up at the midway mark. McNaughton on the mark. I thought he was going to do it with 1. Instead, he leads. Takada, who's been so lethal, goes to Yoshimi, and Miss Phillips stretches in front and has overextended. An injury potentially called, a foul potentially called. It was Phillips, the help defender, jumping in to the lane. Depending on how this is resolved. I mean, injury called. She's holding the left elbow. I'm not... Maybe she's calling a foul, but she did very much jump into that lane there.
Yeah, she absolutely has called the foul.
ただそのオラのコースでもあって、もともとはあっちに行くので戻ってきたっていうオラの主張。だからそう。
His perspective is that it was also his. He was in his line, and you turn around to get in his line. That's what.
I mean, a valiant effort by Miss Phillips to put herself in harm's way, but I do believe that it was her initiative movements that did make that foul happen. She stepped into that lane. This call a bit speculative at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it's always...
Foul is contested. You okay, Mish? Yeah. Last thrower.
So the way this shapes out, there is a wide open Japanese cutter upfield, but it will go back on a foul contest. So that should negate the space lost, or some of it anyways. Upfield, Hikari Miyachi has right now 5 meters of separation.
That's tough in these big moments. Of course, self-refereed, spirit of the game.
And just now, the wind has let itself be known. You see the flags now pushing right to left. Yoshimi comes back, goes to Shima. Shima winds up. No delivery, continues to fake. Now the middle, low, but they do connect. Bex Palmer believed it was a D and was off the other way. There's wide open Japanese players in the attack now. Takada sights Shima. Yoshimi collects and hits the deck. Day on the mark. Yoshimi tries to go over the shoulder now to Shima. Bex Palmer still on the mark. Female matching on male matching here. High release for the goal. Takada can't get there. Australia with a chance.
Incredible energy here. 13-14. Australia just in time. Big opportunity to level things up.
The big task. McNaughton wants to do it in one bite. Goes deep for Dunmore. She makes a play. 15 meters out. Dunmore keeps eyes upfield. Hits Miss Phillips. The Mondays have broken. We're going to universe point.
Incredible scenes here. Japan roaring out from the first half, 8-5. Australia just slowly inching, pushing, willing themselves, and And here, that trust throw, Takada just didn't know it was coming up, completely blindsided, just falls to the ground, massive shot, John McNaughton. Why wouldn't you trust the receiver? Dunmore goes upstairs.
How about John McNaughton walking in to the corner of his own end zone, wind blowing in his face. It hasn't all game long. The wind's picked up. The lefty, from these very grounds here in Queensland, puts the pivot foot down and unleashes in one throw to kick things off. That is some grit by J-Mac. And Dunmore Phillips there to finish it off. The pressure by the Japanese. They were 5 meters away from ending this one, and now the nerves are ramped up. Now it's universe. Now it's anyone's game. Japanese will have the first crack at what is known as double game point.
The crowd, they are absolutely amped. They came to see a big quarterfinal, and a big quarterfinal it is. Everyone just enjoying a fantastic display of Elite Ultimate. So stingy, both sides with the disc. Only 10 turnovers so far.
Here's the pull. Japan get into their structure as Lee picks up and goes to Ohashi. Lee, low throw. There are some nerves already. Takada picks it up though. Ely! Sorry, that is Tran. Throws the body. And there is a foul, but wow, what a play.
And looks like that's an accepted foul for Tran.
Japan back on the attack. The sight to center. Hit. Continuation quick. Ohashi. Could this be it? Japan in the red zone. Centers again. Ishii. Lee. Japan back to center again. Ikeda. Lee with the disc. Mundy's keeping the door closed for the time being. That one, big gainer, space in front, and missed over the wrong shoulder. There's a chance for the Barramundis. This is unbelievable. John McNaughton again scoops over top. Tran has to go to ground to keep it off the ground. Now Holly Reeve. Is your heart in your throat? Michaela Dunmore. The under from Tran, the bid in pursuit to get it back for the Japanese. Matty Owens. The Mundies conversion line nearing the midway mark, and we've got a violation.
My goodness, Steph. Getting plenty of bang for our buck here.
What a game. Owens goes back to Tran, who takes it high. Every float now causing wonder. McNaughton zips that lefty flick to Reeve, and he takes it back. No, he doesn't. The throw doesn't go. Tran throws to Reeve. Owens. McNaughton really working, cutting, doing it with his legs. Will he do it with the throws? McNaughton goes to Reeve. Now in the red zone. John McNaughton winds up and back. Holly Reeve shoots for goal. Michaela Dunmore is there. The Mundies have done the unthinkable. Back from well behind. 3 in a row to end the game. Australia's Barramundis have pushed through and are going to the semifinals on home turf. Not quite yet. There is a call on the field. Oh my goodness.
twists and turns everywhere in this game. Japan O-line having 2 looks at game point, both times just turning it on that last throw into the end zone.
It's not over yet. Again, a retraction of emotion. Let's dial it back 2 throws prior as we have another look at how that did unfold. That's the Reeve throw. Is the call a travel? McNaughton, having a look here what may have been called. If it's in, out, sure, close to the line, but I never saw any of those feet touch chalk.
Yeah, the catch from Dunmore, that looks to be in, that's certain.
Finally conceded, and once again, it can be proclaimed. The Australian Barramundis have come from behind and taken their seats in the semi-final.
Look what it means to these players. Plenty of emotion on display. Australia absolutely putting a show on for this huge sideline support here. McNaughton, ever reliable. Holly Reeve just lays that out for Dunmore. Lovely awareness and footwork there, making sure there wasn't any chalk to dust off.
A never say die attitude for these Australian Barramundis. They were down and seemingly out at 14-12. They held, they broke, they left that defense on the field, and they somehow broke again. This is what we all come here to play. This is what why we watch. This is World Championship Ultimate.
As we say, an elite performance by both teams. Plenty of clean holds, 10 and 9. Turnovers, only 5 and 6. Ultimately, Australia converting 5 of those 6 break chances. Almost left it too late, but absolutely managed to put the pedal on when it counted. Japan, absolutely devastated. They were hoping to get that redemption after losing to Australia in the Asia Oceanic Championships.
Just a tidy game from top to bottom.
So this was Japan's second opportunity at game point. Just a missed throw over the shoulder of the intended receiver. And Australia, as we said, Steph, very clean on conversions from both sides.
Michaela Dunmore, congratulations.
Thank you.
On the victory there. Tell us what's going through your head right now. First, start with that.
I'm not really sure. That was insane. That was such an insane game. I had such a great time playing, but it's got the heart rate up a bit for sure. Yeah.
An absolute treat for the viewers at home, and plenty of support here from the sideline, Mickey. With that defense, we thought you guys might have left it a little bit too late. How did you manage to amp them up just before it was too late?
We talked a lot about, like, it's coming, like, the pressure's building. You know, like, we go from flying through the air with nothing to touch and then flying through the air with something to touch and then getting hands on, and there were some fantastic plays by Japan to keep their hands on the disc, but we knew it was coming. It was just trust. Like, we really had to trust the system and trust that it was going to work when the time was right.
Yeah, you guys had a never say die attitude out there. Walk us through that last play, starting from John McNaughton before it got to the assist. But walk us through your game-winning catch.
I'm not really. I really can't remember. All I saw was Holly picked it up on the sideline. I thought I can bust a gut to the line and try and get that, and I know Holly will send it. I know she's got such a great throw down the line, so I just wanted to give her that opportunity, and she sent it, and it was just a little ballerina act to try and keep it in. So, yeah, just trust in Holly's throws. They're magic.
Absolutely, Michaela. And now getting that grand quarterfinal win, you're going to be facing the USA, who came up on top over Italy. What are you most looking forward to in that game?
I think just seeing what our system can do. Like, we've got a real great, just throw out to our coaching staff. They are so good. They just make sure that we know what we're doing. We trust in our system, and we just have that belief through the whole game. And I think it'll be a huge game, and obviously they're a very capable team, but I think we're just as capable, we're just as world class. It's just going to be that belief that gets us over the line, that willing to fight all the way down to whatever the score needs to be. Just that grind. Yeah. Excellent stuff. The entire Australian community is going to be very proud for your efforts. Congratulations again. Thank you very much, Michaela Dunmore, for your time after the game. Thank you. Much appreciated. Having a look at what the bracket looks like now. One game. Oh, and there it is. Popped in right away. Canada taking on France, and these Australian Barramundis will take on the top seed USA in semifinals from the mixed division tomorrow. Absolutely. The top 4 seeds coming through. 1, 2, United States versus Australia. Looking forward to a big semi, Steph, after a huge quarterfinal here. Japan versus Australia. Both teams coming out firing, coming out clean. Amazing to see some elite level ultimate from these two amazing teams, really pushing each other to be their best. I've still got goosebumps from this one. I don't know when they're going to go away, but I don't mind the feeling. I've been Stefan Rapazzo for Avril Tam. Thanks for joining us here on Ulti World. We'll catch you next time.